Band-Maid are back with the song Protect You, or at least they will be. So I think a lot of people already know that there's been clips bounding around of this particular song, most of all in the trailer for the anime, which it will be the theme tune for, coming out, I believe, next year. Anyway, we've only got clips to work with, so I'm not really here to give you a full review, but I'm more here to talk about what we have heard of the song and more sort of putting it in context, because I think there are some interesting things to discuss with this one. So let's get to breaking down what we know about Protect You thus far. Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I guess really what we're doing today is talking a lot about the context and thoughts on what we've heard of this song so far, which is why I haven't really gone for the usual chapters and graphics that I usually do on my videos. This is just more me talking about what I think, as we've had a few days now to really sort of process this little clip. Of course, I'm really excited to hear this because anything involving Band-Maid, especially when they're getting publicised through things like anime, this is always good because it's the band that we love. It's a good quality band bringing amazing music. The more people that gets out to, the better. And obviously anime is very good at crossing borders and getting music into other territories, other cultures. Obviously there's a lot of Western consumption for anime, especially these days when, overseas non-English language media is becoming more and more popular and the world is getting smaller with the internet. I know I sound like an old man when I'm saying this, but you know what I'm talking about. I think it's very true. The interesting thing is this song is clearly designed for that, from at least what we've heard, in that we have a hook very prominently shown in this clip, where you've got the la 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 sort of thing. It's very much designed to drill into your head. It's got one of those hooks that's going to get stuck in your head. It's also something that if you sing it to a crowd, they can sing it back. I was thinking a lot of the Hunky Dory Day bit from Influencer. This is a song where when people hear it, they don't need to know Japanese to call an answer back to you. So this is definitely one of those songs that I think is going to be really great at bringing in an audience, having that sort of person who watches the anime and afterwards goes, what was that song at the beginning? That was kind of cool. I wouldn't mind checking it out. But Band-Maid? Band-Maid? Googling it. Oh my god, that's the band? Huh? Listen to it. Oh, this is really good. You can imagine where I'm going with this already, despite my Oscar-winning acting, more like Razzie-winning acting that you just saw there. I'm sure you can imagine for yourself what I'm talking about. This is one of those songs that clearly is designed to have that effect, and I think will have that effect. Now, from the perspective of being a Band-Maid fan, I have to therefore look at the opposite side, which is that this song doesn't really sound like, as good as it is, it doesn't really sound like it's adding anything to the Band-Maid formula, in that this really sounds very straight down the line. If you're already a Band-Maid fan, I think we're going to be getting a song here that is very much what we've heard before. I think a lot of people made similar statements around things like Shambles. I felt Shambles maybe had a little bit of an old school vibe, almost felt like it was going back into a thrill direction a little bit, but there are going to be some songs that bands release that are very much in their safe zone. And that sounds like an insult. However, I think once you've been around for a certain amount of time, especially once you've got a certain number of albums, and of course, Band-Maid now have quite a lot of albums and EPs that are completely penned by themselves, you're going to have some songs that sound very much in your safe zone. And if you're going to put them anywhere, you might as well put them in a place like this, which is effectively little more than an advert for your sound, a chance to get people into your band. I said this as well when we looked at the 10th anniversary CD, that the 10th anniversary CD, some people were questioning what songs are on disc 1 and what songs are on disc 2. And I said, disc 1, in my opinion, it might not be everyone's opinion of the quintessential best Band-Maid songs. Well, everyone's got a different opinion on that. But it was definitely the songs that were the best for people who'd never heard the band before. The best ones for getting people into it, sort of a good soft start. And this is one of those songs that, again, feels like that. It feels like it's not overly challenging. It's just tight hook, very much their central sound. Now, of course, I've only heard this clip, as you guys have as well. It's about a minute long. That's still going to be like a fairly large percentage of the song. But I like the direction that it's going in, even though I don't think it's going to blow any long-time Band-Maid fans out the water. I think it's going to be something really interesting for us to just sort of hear another one of their, clearly crowd-pleasing songs coming out. I also think that it's worth bearing in perspective, as I'm sure a lot of long-term Band-Maid fans have as well, that we've been really lucky with the amount of variation that we've had from Band-Maid recently. I mean, this is a band who I always hold their songs like this in high esteem, mostly because of the fact I know that they can then drop something like Memorable. I keep on saying those certain songs that come to mind, Memorable, Page, About Us, Start Over, these songs that just, they come out of complete left field, and yet they feel so comfortable when they do. And it's because Band-Maid can do songs like that, that when they release something like this, that it sounds like it's going to be very much straight down the road, just a crowd pleaser, I feel much more enthusiastic about that. Whereas if I was into a band who just every single song they did was just like another crowd-pleasing rock song, and every single song just sounded like, hey, you like our sound, so we're going to do that on every single song, I think I would lose a bit of respect. But with Band-Maid, you always have that contrast, which makes it so cool. So this is a rambling way of me saying that I expect this to be a song that will just be a pleasant addition to the crowd-pleasing arsenal of songs they have. Won't particularly revolutionize anything, but will continue getting them through to new fans who will then be able to dig deeper and hear the massive variation that makes this band so cool, that makes, is the foundation of why at least I love them and why I think a lot of other people love them. It's so cool to be a fan of a band like this for that reason. So I also think another thing that I wanted to quickly touch on is that often when we hear bands that we like doing theme tunes for animes, and this is obviously something, if you're an artist of even slight note in Japan, you've probably done a theme tune, an opening or a closing theme tune to some series of some anime at some time. It's amazing how prevalent that is. And I hear a lot of the time people talking about the idea of, if you're doing an anime theme tune, it's automatically very restrictive. You do an anime theme tune, it's very restrictive, you have to do exactly what they want. I'm sure there are examples of that. However, I would slightly question that. I don't know that I actually think it's that cut and dry. Certainly, I think that you have to look at it as the fact that this is a transactional thing. And in like any transactional interaction, there's always going to be the possibility that one party is coming into it as the one with the with the greater overall influence, the one who, let's face it, you think is the stronger one, and the other one who's getting the better deal. Now, I don't know this anime. My knowledge of anime is extremely limited. And of course, I know that as Band-Maid fans, we're all going to be like saying, Band-Maid, woo! Anyone who works with Band-Maid is working with the greatest band in the world. I know that's the feeling that we're going to have. But, Band-Maid are not as big as some other bands from Japan who I don't like as much. They don't get the same numbers, they don't get the same hype, but they are still very big right now. They are one of the big things happening, especially in rock. They do have a fair weight behind their name. I don't know what the weight is behind this anime, but I can't help but feel, someone's going to kick my ass and tell me I'm totally wrong. Someone's going to also tell me that I'm fanboying here. I can't help but feel like Band-Maid are coming into this one as the stronger party in the negotiation. And let's put it this way, if you are the one with the greater pull, with the greater fan base, with the greater cultural influence, then you're not going to be overly dictated to, the days when, producing an anime or producing anything on TV or movie made you part of the bigger industry and music the smaller industry, I don't think it really works like that. Especially when, I know that bands are very ubiquitous in Japan. There's so many bands, there's so much music, but there's also a lot of anime. I mean, there's like animes coming out left, right, and center. Like I say, every band seems to have done an anime theme tune at some point. So I think the idea that bands are always prescriptively having to do what the anime asks for is not always true. But I think there's also the other aspect, which is that they might look at it in many different ways. It might be that there is a certain theme, and that's why they originally signed on to do it, because they liked the idea of the anime and they wanted to do something that matched that. Maybe they'd already written a song that kind of matched that idea already, and this is an opportunity for them to use it. Maybe they like having things prescribed to them. Maybe there's maybe the anime is really big, and so the people running the anime studio or whatever can dictate, and it is exactly like that. Or maybe the band has been begged to do this by an anime studio who's really big fans of them, and as a result, the band are just like, hey, let's do something that works for us commercially. There could be any number of things behind that. So I think there tends to be a simplification of, if you do an anime theme tune, it's ultra prescribed. I just think it doesn't make any sense from a business perspective. I think there's a million and one different ways it works. And I don't know which of the two parties here is the bigger one. I can't help but feel it's Band-Maid, but I'm obviously operating from a position of like, I'm front loaded with bias before I even go into this. But I would say that what I feel when I hear this song is I feel like Band-Maid, maybe they'd already written this song, I don't know, but they felt like let's bank ourselves a real crowd pleaser. Let's do something where it's going to operate as a really high energy intro, I think it's the intro music, to this anime, and afterwards people are going to be like, yeah, let's check out more of that band and then explore more. Like I say, exactly how Disc 1 operated in comparison to Disc 2 of the 10th anniversary. Best of, greatest hits, whatever the hell they called it. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. I had a little bit of a ramble. Right, I thought this was going to be a short one. Let's see, how long was I talking for? Over 10 minutes. It's actually longer than most of my videos. I haven't put any, what do you call it? Chapters. Oh, this coffee's going right through me. So I'm going to go and deal with that. Thank you for listening to my little chat about this subject. As always, this is just my thoughts. I mean, obviously, I've worked with the industry. I've worked with this kind of thing, but so I know roughly how these kind of interactions work, but I've never actually worked directly with an anime theme tune being signed up to an anime studio. So this is just my perception of it. Get in the comments, tell me what you think. Maybe you know more about this, maybe you know more about the anime, maybe you know about the relative cash of each party's fame. Maybe you've got some thoughts on the songs. I can't wait to hear the bridge. I love a bridge. A bridge makes or breaks a song. And Band-Maid have delivered some awesome bridges. Occasionally they do sort of fairly straightforward bridges. Occasionally they do mad ones. There could be all kinds of things hidden in the rest of the song that we haven't heard. So this is just me surmising, giving some thoughts. As always, don't take it too seriously. Just get into the chat. Let me know what you think. Press like if you don't mind, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao, ciao.